We met in the spring of 2005 under a chance meeting between friends. I had spent the previous semester living in Australia as an 18-year-old American, a then virgin to the clattering life of bars and clubs. Soon they and I had become regular friends, and most of the settings for my stories from that semester occurred inside their walls or spewed out on their sidewalks. I had journaled my way through those 3 months, and it was clear from beginning to end that something was shifting in my heart, giving in. Darkness and emptiness had taken up root and grown wildly off the nectar of shot glasses and boxed wine. The nighttime had turned me into an angry young woman, the alcohol settling in and fogging my thought processes. The thick, tall sketchbook my sister had given me groaned with late-night words as each sentence I scribbled onto the paper recorded my sadness and confusion, which all sort of crystallized around one question coming from my new friend Tracy while we sat on a Kon-Tiki tour bus, riding through snow-capped mountains and green fields of New Zealand during the last month of our semester. "You know that when we die, you'll go to heaven, right?" We were filling out paperwork to choose which adventure we'd undertake when we arrived in Christchurch. I committed myself to skydiving, and hours later would be gasping for breath as I somersaulted tandem out of the puddle hopper plane. Thus the springboard for her question, I guess. I hesitated. "I don't know," I said, a first-time confession. That moment, and Tracy's simple question, propelled itself backwards through months of bad decisions and guilt. It was an uncomfortable question to me. When you die, you'll go to heaven, right? The only thing I knew for sure was that I was afraid of going to hell. Meanwhile, across several continents and oceans, Ian was finishing up the same 3rd semester of college as me. He was living at home with his parents and studying communications media, which also happened to be my major. We had different reasons for choosing it, though. I liked the low requirements for math courses. Ian actually wanted to use his degree to make films with his best friend, David. They'd been making movies since they were little boy neighbors on Grandview Avenue, such as Little Town, where their characters, Max and Clubber, are really mean to a boy named Casey, who then gets hit by a car and whose ghost haunts them throughout the rest of the film. Complex and creative. Since we were both communications majors, we ended up working at the campus TV station, which is where I first saw Ian, the semester I returned from Australia. A few passing interactions, a handful of words here and there, a quick hello. I didn't think much more about him. But one night we ended up in the same apartment, a place the renters had coined the future. It was the first time we had talked together, more than a passing greeting, as we sat around the floor and on the couches. People were playing video games, and then someone put on some music. I watched as the boys turned into rag dolls, pulling their bodies into contortions and squirms. Someone with a camera froze the moment into a shot of Ian in his blue-striped dress shirt and crew cut, his hand reaching up to his head, his lips curled to wrap around a smile. A memory of a time that was simply easy. I liked talking to Ian, but he still hadn't taken up residence in my thought patterns yet. It was only as we neared the end of the school year that I realized, through those same mutual friends, that we would probably be seeing more of each other. I was staying back to take a 3-week summer class. And Ian, as well as friends Jimmy and my Lise, were all taking the same course. All 3 of them were townies who hadn't strayed far from home for college, and I was staying on Fisher Avenue, just a few houses away from my Lise. It turned into a summer that should never end. I wanted to just keep waking up to it the same way for years. It was a summer that memory tells me was sunnier than the ones